Welcome to the Words of Wisdom podcast. This is the place to be to raise the consciousness within in order to create a life and business of ease, flow, and freedom. This podcast offers inspiring stories, strategies, and special guests to help you become your most aligned self. I am Minerva Maharaj, a former NBA Toronto Raptors dancer turned ICF accredited spiritual life coach, founder of Goddess of Wisdom Spiritual Life Coaching, and Star Seed Academy Coach Training. My soul's mission is to show you the impossible is truly possible. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Let's get to awakening your soul's wisdom. Welcome everyone to another episode of Words of Wisdom. I'm your host, Minerva Maharaj. I know it's been a while, but there has been a lot going on. And I'm here to tell you that I'm going to be releasing 4 episodes back to back and then taking a short leave. The reason being there has been a lot that has transpired this year with the opening of my spiritual coaching school, Star Seed Academy Coach Training, as well as preparing to give birth to my second child. Baby boy is on the way in September. And so with everything that's transpired with my school, with my amazing private and group coaching clients, with my students, and birthing so much within the business world, but also within the human world and spiritual world with bringing this baby earthside. I'm going to be taking a short mat leave from September to the end of October. And then when I return, if you haven't heard already, we have the release of the Freedom and Flow Mastermind, where you consciously create a life and business of freedom and flow that you can live, breathe, and sustain by mastering your mindset, energy, and strategy. So that starts on Wednesday, November 3rd. It's a 6-month mastermind where you're going to learn strategies, receive support from me, coaching in a mastermind aspect of how to integrate and create a life of freedom and flow. So whether it's in your personal life or in your professional life, you want to experience that freedom, that ease, that flow, then this mastermind is for you, where we meet once a month. And you also have the option of working with me privately as an add-on. So that will be the next opportunity to work with me. And then also we have the second cohort for Starseed Academy starting the end of November. So be sure to go to Starseed Academy coachtraining.com for all of the details. But for now, the next 4 episodes that I'm releasing is to help you integrate and live and build and breathe a life of freedom and flow. So I really hope you enjoy these episodes. If they're of value of you, please take a screenshot and share this on Instagram and tag me, as well as leave a 5-star review on Apple or any of the podcast systems that you listen on. I really am passionate about freedom. It is a core value of mine. It's a core value of many of the private clients that I work with. I think is what brings us all together. And so I was very mindful of what I have created and released in the next 4 episodes. So today, what we're going to specifically talk about is how to create a life of freedom now. I say freedom because that's my core value, but whatever your core value is, a life of fun, a life of ease and flow, a life of joy, a life of love, whatever that is, insert that word, whatever the life it is that you want to create, you can start experiencing it now. And in fact, if you've been listening for a while, I'm a big believer in integrating and feeling and embodying it now and being the vibration of it right now versus seeing it and feeling it as something separate and outside of you or significant or greater than you, because that's actually the disconnect. When you see it as something in the future outside of you that has to happen to you, you have to see it to believe it. There's all this separation. You're always going to be like that rabbit chasing that carrot. Versus integrating it, embodying it, being it, and feeling it right here, right now, in this moment. So I have 3 steps on how to start creating and living that life of freedom, a life of flow, a life of ease, a life of joy right now. So get your pen and paper out, or maybe listen to this and then come back and write it out again. I think writing is just so magical. It does so much on so many levels, on the subconscious level, on the conscious level, energetically sending messages to the universe and writing this, and really helps you anchor in to the awarenesses that come up. So how do you create a life of freedom now? Step one, I want you to list out all the ways freedom will play out in your life when you think you have achieved that life of freedom, or that life of freedom or joy or ease or flow that you are reaching for. How is that going to play out in your life? Is it going to play out on your money, your time at home, your schedule, your daily routine, how you choose to spend your weekends, who you hang out with, what you do for me time? Go to the spa, a massage, a walk in nature, a weekend away with your girls or guys, who you choose to work with, the opportunities that you take on, how you choose to spend your money, your time, your energy. How will freedom play out in your life? And again, plug in your word. I want you to list all of that. And you can even just take a moment and just visualize that quality and how that's going to play out in your life when you get quote unquote there. Okay, so take a moment and visualize or write it down. In what ways will that quality of life play out when you get quote unquote there? You think right now that's what's going to look like when you get there, and that's why I said quote unquote there, but you need to start acting like that here right now. Okay, so you can start embodying it by seeing it. And also I want you to realize that freedom or joy or love is not tied to just one thing. Freedom is not tied to just money. So when I make money, then I'll feel free. When I find my soulmate client, then I'm going to feel successful. When I find the love of my life, then I will feel loved. So that right there, the when then syndrome, is what is blocking you from integrating that now, because you're waiting for something outside of you in the future, separate, and also you're waiting for something tangible to show up in order for you to feel how you want to feel and what you want to experience, what you want your reality to be. And you're never going to get there if you are waiting. You're never going to get there if you're always waiting for something to happen. You're the one that makes it happen. The only person you should be waiting on is you right now. And that's how powerful you are. And that's how in control you are. You are a creator. It's not a controlling thing, but I want you to realize your creation in this process, your power of creation in this process. So I want you to recognize that freedom, that love and joy, that ease and flow plays out in so many different ways in your life. It's not tied to just one thing or one experience. It's tied to this vibration, this core vibrational frequency, which I talk about in my school. That's the vibration you need to live in, you need to reside at, you need to vibrate from. And when you vibrate from that place, it's going to be intertwined in everything in your life. And that's actually what's going to attract, because you then become the vibrational match to the experience and reality that you want to be in. So when you're vibrating from freedom, it's going to show up, and you're going to feel that ease and flow in your money, in your relationships, in your business, because you are vibrating at that now. And you vibrating at that level, at that frequency now, is what is going to create and attract the tangible, the physical experience, the reality around you of more freedom, of more flow in your money, in your relationships, in your clients, and wherever you are at in life. So getting clear that freedom is not just tied to one thing, that quality of life, that core value is not tied to just one thing. It's integrated in so many different ways. And when you tie it and attach it to one thing, it's actually going to push it away. And also, you're not even going to recognize the possibilities and what you have created and how it's available to you right here, right now, because you're just waiting for one solid thing to show up and not recognizing, and gratitude is a huge part of creation. You're not recognizing and acknowledging how freedom is playing out in so many ways in your life right now and in your business. So number one is In what ways will that quality, will freedom play out in your life when you get quote unquote there? And then number 2 is, and this is kind of all interrelated, but I'm still breaking them down for you. Number 2 is connect to that feeling now. Connect to that feeling of freedom, of peace, of joy, of ease and flow now. You can do that. Again, you're not going to get there unless you are here. When something happens, you're not going to feel peace then. You're not going to feel free then. You're going to be feeling the exact same vibration you are operating at now. So you're either going to feel like it's not enough, you're going to doubt it, is it going to go away? You're going to have some sort of lack, low vibrating vibration when it does show up, and also you're not going to recognize it and or push it all away from it actually unfolding greater than you could have imagined. So connect to that feeling now. So how do you do that? Well, you can visualize, you can meditate, you can connect to that feeling by just having that daily clear feeling vision of what that life will look like and feel like. Before I get out of bed, I visualize that. Something I do before going to sleep is I really integrate to that feeling, and I get my subconscious working for me. And when I started practicing a clear feeling vision, a vision that I can see, a vision that I can feel and feel like I'm in right here, right now, the universe and frequencies don't know the difference between now and later. It's what you're operating at now. So when I connect to that feeling of freedom, of what sometimes I'm very wary of the words ideal life or dream life because it seems so separate. But when I connect to that, which wasn't a physical reality yet, when I connected to that now, it started unfolding to literally I woke up and like, oh my God, like that's what I've always dreamt of and wanted. And that's where I feel like I sit in a place of awe right now. And it's not to brag. And I just want you to know when I share this stuff, it's not to brag. It's to show you that it's possible for you too. So there's so many strategies and there's a commitment to these strategies and working out and working from a conscious place in order to make this sustainable, to make this a long-term reality and build and keep expanding on that reality. It does take some strategies, which I teach and go expand on and add way more in the Freedom Flow Mastermind. But anyways, back to number 2 is connect to that feeling now. So a morning visualization, a night visualization, even closing your eyes in the moment and feeling into that. If you're at your desk and you're feeling overwhelmed, breathe into that feeling of what can I choose that will feel free right now? How can I get back to a place of peace? How can I act from a place of love? Whatever that core vibration is for you, you can connect to that feeling right here, right now, and act from that place, which then takes us to step number 3 is act on it and integrate it into your life now. So that core feeling, that core value that you want to experience and want it to play out and be the fabric of your life. Once you have that feeling, act on that feeling and integrate it into your life now. Again, it's not something you have to wait for that when I get the client, then I'll feel free. Then I'll give myself the me time. Because truly, when you get the client, when you get the money or whatever it is that you're searching for, you're reaching for right now, you're not going to end up doing it. You're going to continue the same pattern or negative patterns that don't serve you, such as overworking. I don't have enough time. There's a to-do list. Now that I have it, what if I lose the success? Which again, if you're creating from fear, you're going to create more fear into your life. And so breathing into that core feeling, that life, that vibration that you want to experience, and then how can you act on it, integrate it now? So if freedom is a core value, how can you create more freedom in your schedule now? How can you create freedom with the next client that's going to come your way? Does that mean setting more clear boundaries on your schedule and being clear upfront and on your contracts? Is it creating freedom in your daily schedule? I know for me right now in human design, I'm a manifester, which means I work best in spurts. I have these energy spurts, I have these urges, and I can create very quickly, but I also need a lot of time to rest and review as well. Like I really need a lot of time of rest. And I've been operating lately with running a school and having a coaching practice. And I caught myself, and again, I share this because just because I'm experiencing and created a life of freedom and flow, it does take continuous work. and awareness. And so I caught myself working in generator mode of like, I have this to-do list. It was a never-ending list, and feeling burnt out and overwhelmed on top of being pregnant and all the hormones. I realized I've been operating in a generator mindset and energy of go, go, go until there was that burnout and overwhelm and those mini breakdowns. And so one thing that I have started to do is really give myself permission to focus on one thing a day, one task in my business a day. And I only work 3 to 4 days a week. And sometimes when I choose it, I will work on the weekend. But I was also choosing from an unconscious place where it was starting to feel overwhelming. And I didn't remind myself that I can rest. I need to rest. So one thing I have done to create more freedom is focus on one thing a day. And depending on what the task is, even just that one task or project a week. So that opened up so much more space. And then if I feel like I couldn't get that deadline that I had set for myself, I gave myself permission to space it out, to take an extra long weekend, to extend the deadlines on whatever it is I had to work on. And so that's an example of how I created freedom in the moment, right? So it's not a matter of like, okay, when I'm done this course, when I'm done writing this project, or when I'm done with this client, then I will give myself that space. Is no, I'm integrating freedom now because that's what I want my life to be like later, where I have the freedom to make the choice. I can do what I want when I want. And because I've created that consciously is because in those moments where the old self or the unconscious patterns pop up again, I can make mindful decisions of like, okay, what am I doing here? Am I integrating freedom? How am I acting from a core value of freedom right now? And putting myself back into my own power, that I do have the power to make the choice right now. And I'm not tied to anything, what society says or what it should be. I'm creating that life for me now. So it takes work. It may be challenging at moments and it may be very confronting to yourself. But that's the power you have. This is the work that you need to do. So that hopefully makes sense that you can start creating that and integrating that into your life now. How can you act from freedom now? How can you integrate that now in your schedule, in your business, in your daily life, with your family? Don't just wait for someone to give you permission or wait for an opportunity per se for it to happen. You can decide that for yourself now and create those opportunities, and just be mindful even for the next opportunity that comes along. So those are my 3 steps to start creating a life of freedom now. Is number 1, list out all the ways that freedom or your core value will play out in your life, how you envision that to be in your relationships, in your money, in your daily schedule, at work, in your health. List that all out. And then number 2, connect to that feeling now, that freedom feeling, meditate on it, sit in it. And then number 3, create it now, act on it, integrate it now, integrate that freedom and love, act from that space now in your next decision, at your desk, at the next interaction, the next call, at the next decision you need to make. That's how you're going to create the life that you want, is by creating it moment by moment, right here, right now. I hope that resonates with you. Let me know in the comments, leave a review, and also tag us on Instagram at Goddess of Wisdom Coach or Starseed Academy Coach Training, and let us know how this episode resonates with you. Again, thank you so much for listening. I really hope that this helps you integrate and start creating that life of freedom and flow, or that life that your soul deeply desires and yearns for and deserves. Again, if you are interested, the Freedom Flow Mastermind has an early bird option only until September 11th. There's limited spots for the 6-month monthly mastermind, where we're going to go deeper into strategies, mindset, and energy tips to really create and embody and live and breathe and create a sustainable life of freedom and flow by mastering your mindset, energy, and strategy. So if you're interested, go head over to starseedacademycoachtraining.com to create a life of freedom and flow. And if you like to work one-on-one as well, there is that one-on-one option. And there's only limited spots to work with me starting November. Thank you so much for listening. Send you all love and light.